conflicts, has for the past month been waging a war of his own making. In early November, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed announced that he had ordered troops to respond to an allegedly deadly attack on a government military base in Ethiopia's Tigray province. Leaders there say the Tigrayan people are being blamed for tensions that surfaced as Abiy implemented reforms and postponed elections due to COVID. Can he heal his divided country, or will the fighting resume? Our title today, Ethiopia's Abiy Ahmed, from Nobel Peace Laureate to Man of War. And here to answer that question are three outstanding guests. It is a great pleasure to welcome them, starting with Prince Asfawosen Asarate. He descends from the family of the Ethiopian emperor. An author and analyst, he also works as an economic consultant on Africa. And he says the military operation of the Ethiopian government in the Tigray region did not target the people of Tigray, but the ruthless TPLF party. And it's great to have Mikonnen Musgina with us once again. He is head of migration and diversity at the Heinrich Böll Foundation, and he says the civil war in Ethiopia is just the beginning of a long conflict. And finally, we're honored to have with us Mulu Solomon Bezune. She's Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. And she says Ethiopia's current situation is not a civil war nor an armed conflict. It's a law enforcement operation aimed at restoring the constitutional order of the country. So let me start by asking you, dear Madam Ambassador, there's clearly some disagreement amongst you about the scope of the fighting in Tigray province. You say it was a law enforcement operation, but the fact is Ethiopian generals spoke of being at war. The fighting did last over 3 weeks, and eyewitnesses reported both artillery duels and also shelling of the Tigray capital, Mekelle. So that doesn't really look like law enforcement.
Actually, when you say it's a war or something like that, is a different country or different equal level, different people try to fight each other with equal standing. But these are criminals who deliberately attack the national defense forces, which was there for more than 20 years, keeping the country, keeping Magali. And these people not only doing this extraordinary, very devastating crime, they have been doing the same for 2 years, but the government was very, very patient in trying to solve issues with peace and reconciliation, where they rejected all the requests of coming to table to talk, because they don't want the country to stay unless they lead on the top, because they lead this country for more than 27 years, and their name was still Tigray Liberation Front. We don't know, God knows from whom they are going to liberate Tigray. They have been leading it for 27 years. And now, what we are talking about is, this is a criminal body. It's not the Tigray people. The Tigray people are suppressed, suffering like any other Ethiopian people. They are Ethiopians. The issue is with this junta, this clique, which they want to dismantle the country with their allies and doing so many criminal acts, including causing killing, planned, financing, designing throughout the country for 2 years. All this was tolerated. Even they deny the presence of the federal government. They deny everything because of when the term is extended according to the law because of COVID, which tested the world. And then they say they don't accept the federal government. They make illegal election, which is not legal. And they did all unconstitutional. All this was tolerated. Finally, you know what they did, and did you expect any government to sit down and see when the country is dismantled, the country's sovereignty become a question and the country will be dispersed? This is unacceptable.
We want to dig in a little deeper in just a moment about the background of the ethnic tensions in Tigray province. But Mikonnen Musgina, what's your response to what we've just heard? Would you also say that this is a law enforcement operation? Your opening statement referred to a long-running conflict ahead.
Well, taking the historical background of the tensions between the central government and the region, I'm now looking rather more into the region and less to the leading force in Tigray. But it was also part of the government in Ethiopia. So taking the historical aspect that from this region went a long-standing war. The Tigray region was fighting 17 years against the central government, which was the military junta of Mengistu Haile Mariam, and which toppled and then came into the power. So I'm very much aware, but also concerned that this tension between the federal government and the government of Tigray would lead to instability in the region as such, region of Tigray, and also could nurture tensions which has been there for a long time. So not only on the government basis, but also on the ethnical basis. That's what I'm very much afraid of.
And again, I do want to talk about that in a little more depth later, but just on that one point, law enforcement operation or military action?
Well, I would consider it is a military action because the dimension of the military actions taken, it was more than a law enforcement, which I think would have been more a police operation. But this was a more complex and more with more armaments, and even the number of people who were participated in the operation was a massive one.
But Asarate, let me get you to weigh in.